Nursing is sacred work. It is everything that we do to touch the lives of someone at their most vulnerable time is a gift to be able to do that, and I consider that sacred, to be able to touch the lives of someone when they are sick and when they need us the most. And that's what we do at Providence. I love all of the nurses here. They're compassionate, they live our values, and they want to provide the care that every patient deserves. We achieve excellent outcomes. I'm proud of what we do and proud to be a nurse in Providence Hospitals and with the Sisters of Charity.
I've always wanted to be a nurse. Many years ago, as a little girl, I dreamed of becoming a nurse. I'm the first of 7 children to have a college degree. If I could go back 35 years ago, I'd still be a nurse. I enjoy it that much. As I'm making rounds throughout the hospital, the patients are so appreciative of the care we provide that it actually inspires me. It makes my day brighter, less stressed. I just truly enjoy the patient interaction.
Well, for me, I became a nurse the time that one of my sisters was in a bad car accident, and I was in charge of the household, and they called me and said, please come to the emergency room. Your sister's been hurt. And I had got to witness all these wonderful people taking care of my sister, and I said, that really is nice. I really want to do that. So that was my first experience with nursing.
The reason I chose to be a nurse was because I've always been interested in helping others and been moved by the needs of others, but I also had a lot of interest in science and things that were a little more bookish. So to me, nursing was the perfect blend of science and caring, because nursing incorporates a lot of hard science. It incorporates a lot of time spent in school learning things like anatomy and physiology and a lot of things that require that brainy sort of side, as well as the softer skills, the compassion, the touch, the caring, and just that sense of giving of yourself to somebody in need.
I became a nurse. It's actually kind of a sad story. My grandfather was a patient here at Providence about 10 years ago, and I lost him. And the nurse called, I'm going to cry, called me that day because I left him by himself that night, and she knew I was upset. So she called and just let me know that she was holding his hand, and I just thought I could make a difference in other people's lives and just make that little difference. So.
All right, well, our nurses are imperative in taking care of our patients on the day of their surgery. They play a huge role from the morning, from the time that they arrive to the hospital, to the time they go into the operating room, to the time that they are recovered in the recovery room and onto the floor.
The nurses are really responsible for bringing compassion to the operating room. The patients are always scared. They really a lot of times don't know what to expect. When the doctors talk to them the day before, a lot of times they're not really sure what to expect and they don't even know what to ask. It's not until they have time with the nurses before the surgery and actually get to speak to our staff, where the staff makes them comfortable, explains exactly what we're doing, and answers any final questions. The nurses bring a role where they're able to touch the patient right before they go into surgery and really make the patient comfortable.
I think, I spent a lot of time on the floors, and I work with them very intimately, and I visit both patients I don't know and my former patients, and you can just see how their interactions are with the families and the patients themselves. I think they try very hard to do an extremely difficult job. I mean, healthcare, and particularly nursing care, is a very demanding job, and I think they really do it with extreme compassion.
When you're a compassionate person and you establish a relationship with families and with patients, trust becomes a real fundamental piece. And I think we're fortunate here at Providence that many people trust the judgment as well as the skill of our nurses.
I think one of the things that separates our nurses when you see the seal blue and white and you know they're a Providence nurse, is that one of the things that comes along with that, or should come along with that, and we see demonstrated daily, is that compassion piece. And so if it's the extra pat on the back, if it's the extra washcloth to the forehead, whatever it is that they're doing, and they do it daily, and sometimes we overlook it because it's so routine, that we forget that that really is truly the heart of what our nurses should have, is that compassionate heart. And then as far as collaboration is concerned, you're dealing across the spectrum with multiple folks, from families to physicians to rehab staff to lab staff, you name it, food, nutrition, it doesn't matter. They're having to collaborate and again represent the patient in multiple areas. So they're kind of like a conductor in an orchestra. They have to really pull from their resources when they need them, and that's collaboration in its truest form. So, you know, it's probably hard to be a nurse at Providence if you can't deliver on compassion and you can't deliver on collaboration.
I truly believe Providence is unique because of our faith-based mission, and providing a ministry to all of God's people gives a different element to the nursing care and draws a different nurse to provide care at Providence. The values that we live by are, in my opinion, amazing, and guide everything that we can do. And I see that in the nurses that we have here, is that they truly believe in our values, our respect and compassion, collaboration, as well as justice and courage. The courage to speak up, and the courage to provide the care that needs to be provided. It doesn't matter who we're providing it to, but that all of the people that are brought to us that we care for.
Nurses support one another by just being there for each other, no matter what it is. Whether you're having a bad day or you have a bad patient load, it seems like something goes wrong, just being there to help each other. Do you need help with something? How can I help you? Can I pass your medicines for you? What can I do for you? We help each other like that. We help each other through a lot of family crises. When I moved here, I had no family, and my coworkers became my family. And they helped me a whole lot with just even sometimes just calling my children if I had a busy night, to say, your mom is busy and she can't call you right now, but are you okay? Do you need anything? And that helped tremendously, meant a lot.
Compassion is something that the nurses exhibit at Providence that really makes them stand out. Our patients return to us because they know we care. They're all respected. Everybody is unique and everybody is special to us. Life is sacred here at Providence, and that's why everyone who comes in feels special. They feel like nobody else matters except them, because the nurses are just full of so much compassion. It's not unusual to find a nurse crying when the family's crying, a nurse is celebrating when the patient's celebrating. They feel for their patients. They want the best for their patients. The nurses at Providence give patients hope. And that's not an easy commodity these days. But they always have hope. They always want the best for their patients, for their families, and actually for each other. This is a place where I see the compassionate crisis, not just to our patients, but it just flows over to everyone. I've seen the staff take care of other staff members. Staff members have had emergencies where they had to go out of state, out of town, out of the country, and I've seen the most remarkable thing. Staff volunteering to give them their vacation time, give them their PTO time, to make sure they could go home and be with their family member, to be with a relative that was about to leave this world, to make sure they had that time and they didn't have to worry about anything. I'm going to cry. There's a marvelous thing that happens that's just part of Providence. You don't find that everywhere.
I definitely think we use collaboration every day, especially in the ER. Especially we have those patients who need somebody doing this, somebody doing that, and the ER is a great place where we use collaboration all the time. All our staff members are very helpful in lending a hand and helping each other and saying, what do you need, what can I help you with? And it builds you up. It makes you feel like you're not doing it by yourself, and it gives you the strength to keep doing it every day that you come back to work. So I think we do a really good job, and it builds up your strength and gives you the courage and the patience to take care of individual patients the best that you can.
I have a great team of nurses. They genuinely care. Being in the ER, it is a difficult job because we see so many patients every day. It's challenging. You encounter different patients from all walks of life, but we rally together as a team to give the best patient care that we can. So I have some special nurses in the emergency room and the ICU. When you're a nurse and when you work together, you become like family. So through the good times, you're there to support each other. Through the rough times, if you're having a bad day, a lot of times nurses just come in my office, they just need to vent because we don't know what people are going through. We see them every day at work, but we don't know what they're going through at home. So I think for each other, we lend a helping hand to each other, and we're there for them. And when you work, it is an extended family when you come to work, and just knowing I have somebody I can talk to. Even with our chief nursing officer, she's always there. She's always call me if you need to talk. And just knowing that you have somebody that you can depend on, and just to know that I'm not in it alone.
In medical coronary care, we have a wide variety of ages. We have experienced nurses as myself, and then we have very young nurses that come out of school. And so we actually kind of benefit from each other. They're on the cutting edge of knowledge, and we have the experience. So we tend to mold each other and work together. So I think we have a good combination, a good mold.
There's nothing more gratifying than to get a thank you. Say, thank you for taking care of my mom. You took such great care of her, or I appreciate everything that you do, especially in the stressful time for them when they don't know what's going on, what's happening to their mom or their dad or their child or anything of that nature. It's scary to them. And being a parent, I can certainly, see where they're coming from, but as a nurse, you don't think about that first. You think about, let's go in here, let's take care of them holistically as the patient and the family and everything else, and get them all the support that they can get. And then to get that, I thank you, I appreciate you, I would come back, which some of them do, and they remember you, and they're like, oh, you took care of me last time. It's a good feeling.
Every day at Providence, the nurses collaborate with doctors, with every other department, with lab, communication, and it's all for the one good goal of patient care and making sure that we have good outcomes.
Nurses support one another by sort of a sense of being a family, sort of a sense of being a part of something bigger than ourselves. Nursing is such a unique field that it takes a nurse to really know what a nurse goes through, and that's true of any specialty of nursing. Nurses support each other by empathizing with each other, by reaching out to patients with a common goal for healing for that patient and for expressing compassionate and intelligent care for that patient. And nurses are sort of bound together by those concepts.
When I think about nurses week, and I think about nurses being part of really the heart and soul of who we are, I mean, they have hearts of compassion, and it takes a strong level of compassion to care for patients. And this year we're celebrating our 75th anniversary for Providence Hospital, but the Sisters of Charity of St. Augustine have been in the United States since 1851. And if we really go back to the time that they actually came here, the very first thing they started doing was providing nursing to people who were ill in their homes. And so they were actually considered Cleveland's first home care nursing, if you want to call it that. And so the nursing tradition in the Sisters of Charity health system and the Sisters of Charity community is just absolutely huge. So nurses are central to what we do. They're central to our healthcare system. They are the hands, really the kind of the hands of God, the actual folks who really help produce healing. Of course with physicians and everybody else on the team contributes to that, but nurses are central to the actual care of the patient. You know, and so if the nurses weren't here, most of us wouldn't be here because we wouldn't have a healthcare ministry. And so, you know, I say congratulations to the nurses in terms of Nurses Week. It's a huge event. It's a huge celebration. I couldn't think of a better group of people that's vital to us that we want to celebrate and say thank you for the love and compassion they give to our patients.
Oftentimes your work goes unrecognized, and even though we round and try to talk to each of you individually, I think we don't probably do the best job of that, and we can only write so many thank you notes and those types of things. So I would like to take this opportunity to say that, you know, not only have I had family members who've been patients here at Providence, but I've witnessed you take care of really thousands of patients over the 11 years I've been here, and I appreciate the effort that you bring because it's not always fun work, it's not always pretty work, and I know it's hard work. And I would just like to say thank you from the deepest part of my heart that you bring it every day, and you bring that compassion, you bring that collaboration, you live our values. Our mission is to extend the healing ministry of Christ to God's people, and you bring it. And I think that's what we should appreciate in what you do every day, and that even though we don't say it enough, it's sincere when I say thank you.
As the Chief Medical Officer, and certainly as a long-term member of the medical staff over 30 years, I just want to extend a big thank you for all that you do to contribute to the successes of Providence hospitals.
If I could speak from the heart, I really feel that why we do such a good job at Providence Hospital is only partly responsible for what the physicians do. I think what the nurses do is probably the majority of the healthcare. Doctors sometimes say thank you, other times doctors don't. But all of us really believe in our hearts that the reason patients have such a good experience here is because of the nursing staff and also all support staffs. I couldn't do what I do without nurses, whether it's in the operating room, whether it's in the ICU afterwards, or whether it's even pre-op. I depend on nurses. Nurses are the backbone of the hospital, and I think our administration really understands that.
I really want to express my thanks to all of you nurses who take excellent care of all the patients who come through our doors every day.
It is Nurses Week 2013, and I'm proud to be a nurse at Providence Hospitals, and I'd like to extend a thank you to all of the nurses that work in Providence Hospitals and nurses really everywhere. Thank you for all of the care you provide. Know that it doesn't go unnoticed, and we are grateful to have you here to provide the care for our patients.